Hey there, we're back in the kitchen and we're going to move on to our second recipe. And of course we have Debz OG playing in the background. And on this playlist, we're playing Tonight. Tonight is my love song that I wrote for my husband and how much I love him and enjoy him. So anyway, that's what I got playing in the background. Why? Because I need something happy to listen to while I cook because I am just really not that great in the kitchen. Anyway, our next recipe is going to be a chocolate pumpkin cheesecake bar. And this is what it's supposed to look like when it gets all done. And really, it's kind of a two-step process. You're going to make a chocolate pumpkin mixture that resembles a cake mix. And then underneath that, you're going to put that in a pan once you get that all mixed up and put together. Then underneath that, you're going to make a cheesecake. And so then the cheesecake is going to go over the top of the cake mix. And then we'll take a knife and we'll go through and we'll make these pretty swirls with the knife. Then we'll pop it in the oven. That takes another 30 to 35 minutes. Now this recipe too would make a great Christmas gift. This is going to be a little more pricier though because you're going to have cream cheese in it. You're going to have a lot of spices and we're going to do something really cool. One of the ingredients here is calling for unsweetened chocolate coarsely chopped. So David is a cook, you know, my husband. He loves to cook. So he sent away for this chocolate, and it is a gourmet brand. And when you open it up, it's a nice little box, little presentation. It's got a tasting and pairing guide. This is how cool this stuff is. And it says this bar of chocolate is crafted from the rarest and most prized cocoa variety on earth. So it comes from the birthplace of cocoa, which is Ecuador. In the middle, you'll see a hole there. This is a real cocoa bean, or cacao bean, as some people pronounce it. And this is also a company, Toac is the company, and they work to conserve cacao trees and with the farmers to preserve Ecuador's legendary and ancient national cacao before it goes extinct. So this is the chocolate bar. I'm going to save this. This is cool. And then we're going to take this and we are going to grate this. Now, my grandmother and my great-grandmother were excellent cooks. And this is their antique grater. And I know these are scary because when you get your knuckles too close to this, and man, it's horrible. But it wants coarse grated chocolate. So it needs this entire bar because it's going to be 1.8 ounces. And so you're going to, it calls for 1/3 cup of butter. So we're going to take the cocoa, grate it up, and the butter, and then we have to pop it in the microwave. So I'm just going to go ahead right now, and you can see this is what's really nice about this cocoa. It just has little chunks. It's already broken, so I may not even really need to grate this. But you can grate it coarsely, and oops, my chips are flying all over the countertop. Anyway, you can see it's a very nice coarse cocoa that we get chopped, and then I'm going to pop it in the microwave. I'm going to melt it up. We ground this up, and now it's all smooth. And now we're ready for phase 2 here. So the next thing we have to do is take 2 large eggs, got them in here, and we just lightly beat them because we want them to be nice and smooth. And now comes the exciting part. Okay, so I'm just mixing these together, lightly whipped. There we go. So now that we've got that done, now we can move on and get some of the other excellent ingredients in here. So it says to take the coffee now. I love coffee and chocolate. They are two of my favorite addictions, I think. Now, coffee, this is a German coffee. It's called Dahlmeier, and I love this. It's aromatic and delicate. It's very good coffee. Let's see, how much of this do we need? A tablespoon of instant coffee. So you can use your favorite coffee, whatever instant coffee you like. If you like Starbucks instant coffee, they have really good instant coffee. I drink it on the plane. All right, so we're gonna take that, put it in half a cup of hot boiling water, just a half a cup. We're not gonna use a full cup. You can see it's a half a cup. Stir that up, make sure that it's nice and mixed. You want to get all of that flavor. Oh my God, this smells so delicious. All right, so now we put this in here. And now we're going to take the chocolate mixture and get that all in there. And the chocolate, this chocolate is smooth and amazing. So the instructions and information that came on that gourmet chocolate, this is 80.05% pure cacao. And I guess in Ecuador, they have been raising cacao, the ancient cacao, for 5,000 years. And there's serious preservation work going on. Just like a lot of the other agricultural crops that are facing challenges right now. There's all kinds of challenges of extinction because of different diseases and strains and all other kinds of things. Now, we have to mix this together. So we got a nice, even consistency here. So I'm just mixing this, bringing this all together, and you can see the color is changing to a nice chocolatey color. All right, so we have dissolved the coffee in the water. Now we got to stir in our pumpkin. We've got the eggs in here, the chocolate mixture. So now we're going to stir in the pumpkin. So this takes 1 can of pumpkin. And like I said, we use fresh pumpkin that we've processed at our house. And you can do that if you like. You just use a regular cup. If not, if you're not into peeling pumpkin, carving it up, and then pressure cooking it, which does take some time, but oh my gosh, it tastes amazingly fresh, and there's no can taste in it, I don't like the taste of the can. It just kind of grosses me out. So now what I'm doing is just mixing this together. I'll get out my little blender here, or mixer here in a minute. All right, but right now we've got that going. And then next, our recipe is calling for flour, sugar, baking soda, and salt. So on the flour side, it's 2 cups of flour. So we're going to take our mixer and we're going to start getting our ingredients nicely blended together. And like I said, I just use a handheld mixer. I mean, these are not big, thick, heavy cakes. So if you want to use a hand mixer, I think it's fine. If you have a big mixer and you like that, it's a little bit more powerful, so it would go a little quicker. All right, so now I'm just gonna mix this together. I wanna get it as smooth as possible. And then I'm gonna start adding my flour. So now the flour, like I said, it's 2 cups of all-purpose flour. And this really makes a very beautiful, beautiful chocolate pumpkin cheesecake bar. It's a very rich, elegant dessert. Or in my case, I could make a meal out of it. Just depends what you're into, I guess. My thing has always been desserts. And my motto is, let's eat dessert first because you may not live you may not live through the entree. And I never ever want to miss out on my dessert. So I'm just mixing this slowly to make sure everything's nice and smooth and well mixed. Putting a little bit of flour in at a time. I don't want to look like Frosty the Snowman with flour all over me, so just doing a little here and a little there. We're also going to combine sugar, 1.5 cups of sugar, 3/4 of a teaspoon of baking soda, and if you like, you can put salt in it. It's calling for 1/2 teaspoon of salt, but I don't use salt in my cooking. I just never have. There's salt in my butter, so I'm not gonna salt. I'm not gonna put any more salt in. All right, so now we're blending in the rest of the flour. Gonna put in the sugar. Get this going, then we'll put in our baking soda. Baking soda is very important. If you don't have that, things are gonna turn out sort of flat. So just in case you run out of baking soda and think it's gonna turn out fine, it won't. Trust me. Go to the store, just bite the bullet and go get some. Been there, done that. Wasted a lot of time and money on ingredients. So here we go. This is really turning into a beautifully smooth, luscious batter. And once we get this all mixed in together, then we're gonna put this as our bottom layer in our pan, and then we're gonna turn our attention to the cheesecake. Yep, indeed. So it's like a 2-step. It's like you're combining 2 desserts into one, and then you're putting them together. So I'm just gonna add my baking soda and put some Pam in here, and now we have our first layer of the mixture for our for our chocolate pumpkin cheesecake bars, which are going to be delicious. I can't wait to try these. I love cheesecake, and the mere fact that it's got cheesecake, coffee, and chocolate in it, and pumpkin, to me, it cannot be a failure. Okay. So now what we're going to do next is we're going to go on to the cheesecake portion of this. And this is pretty straightforward. So for the cheesecake, we're making the batter in a small bowl. So right now I have in here 1 8-ounce package of reduced fat cream cheese. So we're thinking about the thighs here. A 1/2 can of pumpkin. So I put the pumpkin in here. So you'll see we got the pumpkin and the cream cheese. So now what we need to do is we need to mix these two together and make them smooth. So we're gonna get our little mixer out, make this happen. And here is I'm using the local brand. It's 1/3 less fat, so that's good. Cream cheese. So got that going. Now we're gonna take our little hand mixer here, and we are going to mix this up. Try to not to shoot it all over everywhere. The pumpkin adds a lot of moisture, and I think when you combine it with the cream cheese, the flavor is going to be out of this world. I've had a lot of different kinds of cream cheese in my lifetime and cheesecakes, but never pumpkin cheesecake. And I can just imagine it's going to be really elegant, very rich, and very flavorful. So now that that's mixing up nicely, we're going to also beat in the sugar, the vanilla, and the spices, and the egg. So that's what we will be doing next. So we've got 1/4 cup of sugar that's gonna go in here. I'm using baker's sugar for all of this. So I'm beating that in there right now, making sure I get all of this cream cheese. I don't know about you, but I don't want to waste one little bit of that. And then we're gonna just let this kind of sit a second, and then we're going to put in all of our spices. But I want to make sure this is really mixed well and that we have a very smooth texture. Okay, now that that's looking excellent, I'm going to shut this off, and we're going to put in, let's see here. Here's the spices. We're going to put in a teaspoon of vanilla extract, 3/4 teaspoon of ground cinnamon, 3/4 ground ginger, 1/8 of cloves, 1/8 of a teaspoon, then a lightly beaten egg, and then 1 cup 6 ounces of semi-sweet chocolate chips. Okie doke. Then we're going to mix that all together. So now that we've got our spices in there, I've got them all mixed in. Now the last step here is to get our egg added. I just frothed it up a little bit. Now I'm adding that to the batter. And then it says to mix it on low just until it's combined. This looks so beautiful, and it smells delicious. So just want to make sure everything's combined and looking great. And then it is time to take this batter, our cheesecake batter, and mix it over. Just layer it on top in our pan right over the other batter. So that's what we will be working on next. Get rid of this. So we're just going to pour this right over the top of the other mixture that we put together. It's like you're making a cake and then putting cheesecake over the top of it. This is a very cool idea. I gotta hand it to the people who make these recipes. I could never do this. I'm just not minded that way, but I really admire people who are. So we're just trying to make it as smooth as possible. Just spreading it out. And I gotta tell you, I think your friends and family will be very impressed with this recipe and all the cool stuff that goes in here, because it, to me, has all of the greatest ingredients that a person with a sweet tooth could want. So you can see that I've got my cheesecake layer on top of the other batter. I'm just smoothing that out because I want it to have a beautiful, consistent look to it. Now that we have that part all done, now I'm going to take my knife and I'm going to make some swirls in here. Because in the recipe, you see that there are swirls on this cake. So to make the swirls, you just take your knife and you just go through here like this, and you make your little swirls. And you can make them a number of directions, but I think, you know, this is kind of cool. Now, for the best the best and the most exciting part. We're going to put in our chocolate morsels. So again, these are Nestle Toll House morsels. They claim that they have improved the texture of these and made them smoother. I don't know. There was nothing wrong with the textures in the first place. So I'm sprinkling the chocolate chips on there. Now, this is how it should look going into the oven. And now we're going to bake it at 350. And it's going to bake for 20 to 25 minutes or until you can pull a toothpick out, of course, that isn't, you know, full of any kind of crumbs. It should come out smooth. So I'm cooking it in a convection oven, and so it'll be about 25 minutes. We've got our cheesecake and chocolate mixture over there in the oven cooking away. And while that's cooking away, I went back, I melted the chocolate, but this is my interpretation. I didn't want to drizzle it. I just sort of made like a little chocolate crust on it because I love chocolate. And I know most people in my family love chocolate, so hell with the drizzle. We just went ahead and put the whole thing on there. So it looks more like a little bit of a frosting. But I know my family's gonna love this, and I know David will too. And it's just a wonderful three ingredient treat. So these are the Easy Chocolate Chip Pumpkin Bars. Again, we got it out of Taste of Home Pumpkin for the holidays. I highly recommend this. It's fun, it's easy, it's economical to make, and what's not to love, right? So we might have to sit down, you, I, and our dessert, have a little gossip session and talk a little bit about some of these crazy DMs I get. Just unbelievable things. I guess if I wasn't entertained by them, if I didn't know better, and if I really believed that stuff, I would probably be upset. But hey, it makes me laugh so hard that I can't hardly stand it. Now, for example, just one example of some crazy DMs. So the other day, I started getting, I think I got at least 10 DMs about how I was flirting with someone's significant other, boyfriend, husband, I don't know what. But when somebody comes to me and they're using weird names like, I don't know, G.I. Joe, camouflage, you know, camel, and all other kinds of weird names, I have no idea who these people are. I don't know what's going on. But, you know, I try to be kind and I try to be nice to everybody because I believe that's what God wants. And if people send me dick pics, don't blame me because I'm not asking for them. And I don't want them, to be honest with you. So, hey, so I've gotten at least 2 or 3 women who are concerned about their boyfriends, husbands, whatever, and accusing me of trying to steal them. No, honey, I don't need that. I have my own husband. I love him very much. I'm very grateful for my husband. And you know what? Here's how I feel. If you talk that badly about your significant other to me, why would they find that attractive in you? So learn to cherish your men, your husband, your boyfriend, whatever they are in your life. Learn to cherish them because life is short, and especially in this pandemic, nobody needs that. My whole thing here is to inspire, to encourage people to do their thing, to be their best, to share love and kindness and inspiration. I am not here to date. I am not here to, you know, go after other people's property. Not my thing. So don't send me threatening DMs because there's no point to it. Anyway, God bless you all. I'm leaving you now. I have the cheesecake cooking away in the oven. And when that comes out, we are going to absolutely indulge and try it out. But I'm going to share all of these with my family. These are part of the gift giving that we do. We bake for each other. It's a family tradition. And I thought all of you might enjoy seeing some of the new things that we're trying this year. And I hope you try them too. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year.